Well, happy 20th anniversary to you, my two precious friends, kind of like spiritual children to me. And I have that kind of high regard and healthy regard for you that you've lasted. Lonnie, Cara, what can I say? I am so proud of you. As you've heard me say many times, that marriage is not just the coming together of two lives. Usually it's the collision of two histories. All marriages collide, but they don't always survive. You did both, and that's why we're celebrating you tonight.
It's 20 years. I'm still in awe that we actually got to 20 years. 20 years is a long time. It's just a blessing for them to be together for this long, because 20 years is a long time. I'm not even 20 yet, and I feel like my life has just been long.
I'm proud for my parents to be married for 20 years.
There we go.
Because then we all want to be together as a family. They weren't married, so.
Yeah. Is that it? Yeah.
God first, family next, and open, honest communication. But then again, there's some secrets you just want to go to your grave with.
When my parents first met Lonnie, they really, I think they were wondering, who is this guy?
Who's this guy? Okay, Cara, where you get this guy from?
Because he was loud, obnoxious, crazy. I think he was intentionally, I think he actually was nervous meeting my parents, because it was like, I was even wondering, who is this guy?
If my mom didn't like an ex-girlfriend, she wasn't shy about letting me know. No, you need to take her back where you found her. But she really embraced Cara, and I remember there were times where I would take her back home to Muskogee, and my mom and Cara would be sitting at home at my mom's house for hours just talking, and that was, to me, in my eyes, a sign of approval. But I think my mother gave the stamp of approval for her, and that let me know I had the green light.
Our relationship has grown tremendously. I have to say, I don't think I really knew him then as how I know him now. And it's amazing of how I can see him have grown as an individual, as his walk with God, as being the nurturer, the provider for the family. And he's truly my best friend. And I can't even imagine that we're celebrating 20 years. It doesn't even seem like 20 years. It seems like it was yesterday.
Keep God first in your life. And I think you guys are off to a great path when it comes to praying together as a family. We be praying together, worshiping together. That produces a stronger family, stronger ties.
We pray every morning before we leave the house. We have crosses all on the walls, also verses. We don't leave the house or start our day without praying. And then sometimes when we wake up in the morning, like you would hear our parents downstairs doing their little devotional thing where you hear them praying, you hear them talking to God, and you hear them reading the Bible. So that kind of affects us in a way where we get influenced by that, and we feel as if, well, that's a good thing that we should start doing also.
I think the communication is really good, because if we're doing trouble in school, like confused on like homework or something, they would always come and help us. And if like we're like feeling bad, my parents would always like ask what's wrong and always try to help.
You have a great reputation for integrity, for doting on your wife and celebrating her as a queen, and for doing what men ought to do toward their wives.
See, for me, romance is easy. That's the easy part. That's my department. That's what I do, Sometimes you got to get out yourself. Cara won't admit this, and I know the camera's rolling, but she like whenever I'm whenever I'm the booger with the sugar. You know,
Oh, here we go.
no, let's just keep it real. You know, she knows sometimes I can be spontaneous.
Yeah.
You know, I might walk in one day, you know, and just say, hey, your kids home? Tell them to go to bed early, you know. Or I'll call her up and say, hey, you need an Uber driver? I'll come pick you up. You know, role play a little bit, you know, just to keep the fire burning, you know. But at the same time, I think that one of the key elements that helps with the romance staying alive is knowing the seasons, knowing the times, knowing that if she's not in the mood to be playful, don't come with some joke because she's not feeling it. And knowing when she's had a stressful day, knowing that if I beat her home, get bath water ready, not for no hanky-panky, but just to let her know, hey, I appreciate you, I appreciate your hard work. This evening, I want you to relax. Little things like that, getting out of self, not being selfish or self-centered. I think those are the things that have really helped keep the romance going by thinking of her more than I think of myself.
Obviously, Cara has reciprocated with the kind of love and adoration for her husband that you've enjoyed over the years.
Half of our lives have been together.
Yeah.
And literally, the cool thing about it is that there's so many things that we can say. Remember when we turned 21 together? Right. Remember when we turned 30 together? Mm-hmm. Remember when we celebrated our 21st birthday together? Remember when we had our first child? I mean, we've had some major life events that we've experienced together. Mm-hmm. Going to Jamaica for the first time, that was together. Having a child, we've never did that, mm-hmm. That was together. Moving or buying our first home, mm-hmm. Getting finance for our first home, building a brand new home, we experienced that together. So, you know, you think about people that have gotten married and they gotten divorced and they remarried, they're always going to remember those first. Mm-hmm. We actually had all of these first mm-hmm. together. And so I'm excited. We used to joke a lot about seeing that old little couple, the couple that we see on the porch, and he calls her Ma and she calls him Pa, mm-hmm. and like, that's gonna be us, and we laugh about it, but that is gonna be us. Mm-hmm. That's gonna be us, and I'm excited, and I just adore you. Mm-hmm. I really do. See? I do. I really do.
Adore you too.
Aw. Pa.
The word agreement, as I often say, is in Greek is symphoneo, where we get the English word symphony. It doesn't mean to sound the same. It doesn't even mean to sound alike. It just means to sound together. And that's what any marriage is. The scripture says, how can two walk together unless they be agreed? Hebrew. But in Greek, it's the same word, but how can they walk together except they know how to balance each other off? I often say if the husband and wife has the same opinion about everything all the time, then one of them ain't necessary. So there is that class. There's the ebony and the ivory, the yin and the yang in life, and it's healthy. It's wholesome. Just have to know that when you go into it. When Lonnie and Cara first talked about getting married, I thought they were too young. In college, I remember I was concerned that they might grow out of that initial love. They didn't. They grew together into the love. In fact, obviously they're more in love now than they were then.
You know, in the beginning of any relationship, people tend to give you their representative. And so we had to get past all those layers of who we wanted each other to think we were. But after so many moments of adversity, so many things, setbacks, hard times, trials, tribulations, after a while, the essence of who she really is came forth, and that's when I began to really fall in love with her all over again, because now I have a greater appreciation of who she really is. And she's grown as a person, she's grown as a mate, she's also grown as a best friend, and I think that's the best quality that I like most about her, is that she's my best friend. I mean, I really can say that with confidence, and the way I feel about her now is so much different but better than how it was when we first met, because I can be myself, who I really am, without any fear of rejection or anything like that, and knowing that she loves me unconditionally. So I think the way I feel about her now is much better than it was in the beginning.
It's been your 20th year coming up. That, I really wish that you guys would continue again to keep God first, and above all, keep the family tight, and we'll do whatever we can to help support you as you move through your cycle of life.
What do you think about us almost hitting the 20-year milestone, 20 years of marriage?
I'm anticipating what it will be like once we cross that 20 years. But at the same time, I'm reflecting on what it's been like these past 20 years. Because when I think about it, we're both 40 years old. I mean, that means we've spent literally half of our life together. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
But when I look back over the 20 years we've spent together, it seemed like it just flew by, but the good has outweighed the bad, and I'm grateful for it. I can't say that I have any regrets. I'm looking forward to the next 20 years, but at the same time, I want to stop and I want to savor this moment. I've experienced a lot of wins in my life. I've experienced championships, and I would say this is almost equivalent to winning a Super Bowl, because it's a rare occurrence, but it's still something that I'm cherishing and I'm going to celebrate, that can't be taken away. That's a major accomplishment, and by God's grace, we're here, and I'm grateful for it.
They're a good example of, even though 20 years is so long, but when marriage is 67% of them in a divorce in this country and don't last much more than about 5 years before they go through another shift, they've done quite well. I say when people, marriage lasts like 50 years, they should get Nobel Peace Prizes. So they're almost halfway there. So they at least get a Peace Prize or a Nobel Prize, and when they get 50, we'll give them the Peace and the Nobel together.